It's time to celebrate the 2025 African Universities Day, brought to you by the Association of African Universities AAU. On November 12th, universities across Africa will unite to celebrate knowledge, reflect on progress, and shape the future of higher education on the continent. From the 10th to the 14th of November, a rich lineup of activities will take place, including high-level symposiums, student debates, policy dialogues, an innovation expo, awards gala, and many more. The celebration will be held in a hybrid format, with event taking place virtually and at the AAU headquarters in Accra, Ghana. This year's celebration will focus on the theme, the future of learning in Africa, technology, innovation, skills, and inclusive growth. Join African universities, policymakers, industries, development partners, and key stakeholders across Africa to explore the future of African higher education.
Good day and welcome to the AAUTV Mid-week news, coming to you live from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities. And now to our top stories. Kenyan students win global award for breakthrough innovation. Tanzania discovers new natural gas in southern region. In business, Ghana revokes 278 mining licenses over illegal operation. And Trump escalates trade war with Canada over Reagan's advert. And now please stick with us for more news and news in detail after this short break. We'll be right back. And now in Accra, on October 22, 2025, renowned Ghanaian scholar Professor Kwame Champon launched his new book, Reconceptualizing the Learning Crisis in Africa, at the Kempinski Hotel, urging African government and educators to fundamentally rethink how education is designed, delivered, and assessed. The event, co-hosted and co-authored by Dr. Sean Higgins, brought together education leaders and policymakers to confront what he described as a moral and social injustice with millions of African children either out of school or in classrooms but not learning. He argued that language barriers, teacher disempowerment, and imported education models are undermining progress.
Speaking at the Kempinski Hotel, the distinguished Ghanaian academic described the continent's learning crisis as both a moral failure and a global injustice, with millions of African children still out of school and many more in classrooms but not learning. Professor Champon, who teaches at the Open University in the United Kingdom, said the problem lies in the way education is conceived and delivered, often through systems that overlook local realities and languages. He warned against what he called deficit thinking, the tendency to blame teachers or communities for poor results and criticize the loss of mother tongue instruction that once supported early learning. Drawing from Ghana's complementary basic education and school for life programs, the professor urged African governments to celebrate and scale up homegrown innovations rooted in compassion, collectiveness, and cultural identity. His book, co-authored with Dr. Sean Higgins, builds on years of research in Ghana, Ethiopia, and Liberia, and calls on leaders to make every African child's right to quality learning a lived reality, not an unfulfilled promise.
Meanwhile, two Mount Kenyan University students, Esbon Ogita and Benita Muriti, have won first place at the Access 2.0 AGIA competition held in Leipzig University in Germany for their groundbreaking invention, Ekua. The innovation is an off-grid solar power water harvesting system which creates clean, mineral-rich drinking water directly from the atmosphere. Developed to tackle water scarcity in Kenya and beyond, the project stood out among many African university startups for its scalability, sustainability, and social impact. Inspired by personal experiences of water shortage, the duo aims to pilot EcoBlue in Kenya before expanding access in Africa and Europe in 2026.
Esbon Ogetu and Batina Maturi's award-winning innovation, EcoBlue, is a fully off-grid system that generates clean, mineral-rich drinking water directly from the atmosphere using solar energy, eliminating dependence on rivers and boreholes. The duo says their mission is to make access to clean water sustainable, scalable, and climate resilient, especially for communities facing chronic water shortages. Inspired by personal experiences in Kenya's arid areas, the innovators developed EcoBlue after witnessing the devastating effects of unsafe water. Maruti recalled meeting a young boy who later died of cholera, a moment that solidified her resolve to find a lasting solution to water scarcity. EcoBlue's design allows it to serve both rural and urban users, from households and schools to hospitals and off-grid resorts. Built with locally sourced materials and powered by renewable energy, it promises to support job creation and environmental resilience. The team plans to begin pilot installation in Kenya before rolling out commercially across Africa and Europe. Their innovation could soon redefine how the world accesses safe drinking water, one drop at a time.
And now in health in Ghana, dermatologist Dr. Kofi Ansah-Brifo is calling on clinicians to treat persistent breast rashes and skin discoloration as potential early warning signs of breast cancer. Speaking on a radio show in Accra last Friday, Dr. Brifo explained that inflammatory breast cancer often manifests through skin symptoms months before any lump appears. He argued and urged medical professionals to investigate rashes that do not respond to treatment, noting that delayed diagnosis leads to poorer outcomes. The awareness campaign comes as his non-profit Skin Foundation Africa partners with health agencies and cancer groups during the Pink October to educate communities on recognizing skin-related warning signs of breast cancer for early detection and prevention.
A Ghanaian dermatologist is issuing an urgent warning that skin changes may signal breast cancer long before a lump appears. Dr. Kofi Ansah-Brifo revealed during a recent radio appearance in Accra that inflammatory breast cancer often presents through dermatological symptoms that are frequently misdiagnosed as common skin conditions like eczema or fungal infections. The specialist described cases where patients experience persistent itchy rashes, redness, thickened skin, or nipple changes that later proved to be aggressive forms of breast cancer. Dr. Brifo emphasized that delayed diagnosis due to these missed skin signs lead to significantly poorer patient outcomes, stressing that any stubborn breast rash failing to respond to standard treatment must be immediately investigated further. Addressing the broader impact of cancer care, Dr. Brifo noted that recovery extends beyond tumor removal, highlighting the need for dermatological and psychological support to help women deal with treatment side effects like pigmentation changes and scarring. As part of Pink October awareness activities, Dr. Brifo announced that his non-profit, Skin Foundation Africa, is partnering with breast cancer foundations and public health institutions to provide free education programs targeting both medical professionals and the public. The initiative aims to improve early detection and prevent unnecessary suffering caused by overlooked symptoms, with Dr. Brifo specifically encouraging heightened clinical vigilance among primary care providers, nurses, and general practitioners.
Ever wondered what drives ordinary people to do extraordinary things? Every week, a new story unfolds. But these aren't just stories. They are the journeys of courage, resilience, and vision. On Impact Stories, we open the door to remarkable personalities and everyday heroes. Experience the passion behind their purpose. Witness the setbacks, the breakthroughs, and the moment that defines a legacy. Journey with us on AAUTV every Saturday at 4 p.m. as we celebrate those who are making an impact. Tune in to Impact Stories, where real people share real journeys and real impact, each one leaving behind a legacy written in gold. Only on AAUTV. And welcome back from the break. Now in our discovery, Tanzania's Ministry of Energy recently confirmed the discovery of new natural gas deposits in Mtwara region following exploratory work in Lindi Mtwara block. The discovery supports Tanzania's national strategy to expand domestic energy supply, boost industrialization, and advance climate transition goals by leveraging natural gas as a cleaner alternative to oil and coal. Early data indicates a commercially promising reserve, which could also enhance Tanzania's role in regional energy security and export opportunities. The government has committed to ensuring local communities benefit from the project through job creation and revenue sharing.
Tanzania has announced a significant natural gas discovery in the southern region of Mtwara. The find, confirmed by the Ministry of Energy, after exploring in Umundo and Mparura villages, marks a major step in the country's plan to strengthen domestic energy supply and position itself as an energy leader in East Africa. Early seismic data shows up to 32% probability of confirmed gas reserves, a promising margin for onshore production. Deputy Permanent Secretary Dr. James Mataragio emphasized that the discovery aligns with Tanzania's Natural Development Vision 2050, which aims to increase energy access and support industrial growth using cleaner fuels. Natural gas already supplies over 60% of Tanzania's electricity and fuel industry, such as cement and fertilizer production. With the Mnazi Bay gas field expansion 68% complete, the government aims to further raise daily production capacity. The discovery also opens potential export opportunities to neighboring countries like Kenya and Zambia, which face energy shortages. However, Tanzania must balance its growth with environmental safeguards as the country faces pressure to align its global decarbonization goals. The government has pledged to involve local communities and ensure benefits such as job creation and revenue sharing. If confirmed, the new reserves could make Tanzania a key regional energy hub, powering both national development and clean growth across East Africa.
Now in sport, Algerian gymnastics, Kelia Nimoa has won the uneven bars world title in Jakarta, claiming the gold medal with a commanding score of 15.566 points just months after her Olympic victory. The 18-year-old, who previously competed in France, delivered a flawless high-difficulty routine to secure the championship, marking a historic achievement for both her career and African gymnastics. While demonstrating the sport's growing reach, her victory comes after a fourth-place finish in the all-round competition, showing her resilience in rebounding to dominate her specialty event. The win establishes Nimoa as one of gymnastics' most promising African stars and signals new opportunities for African athletes in the sport.
Algerian gymnast Kelia Nimoa has secured her first world championship title on the uneven bars, just months after winning Olympic gold. The 18-year-old athlete dominated the competition in Jakarta with a commanding score of 15.566 points, finishing comfortably ahead of Russia's Angelina Melnikova and China's Yang Fanyue. Nimoa, who previously competed for France before switching to Algeria, delivered a flawless routine in the final. She demonstrated the high difficulty and execution scores she has mastered throughout her career. Her win marks a historic moment as she now stands as both an Olympic champion and world champion, establishing herself as one of the most prominent young stars in artistic gymnastics. Despite experiencing a minor disappointment the day before by finishing fourth in the all-around competition, she rebounded strongly to dominate her specialty discipline. Her achievement carries extra significance for Algeria and Africa, showing that elite gymnastic excellence is becoming increasingly global. With her world title now secured, Nemore turns her attention to further finals and future Olympic targets. She continues to build on her incredible rise in the sport, solidifying her status as a gymnastics superstar.
And in entertainment, the Green Fingers Wildlife Initiative recently organized a fashion show in Lagos where young designers created outfits entirely from plastic bottles, food wrappers, and other collected waste to highlight marine pollution. Founded by teacher Chinedu Mogbo, the event aimed to raise awareness about plastic's impact on sea turtles and ocean while engaging young people in environmental advocacy through creative expression. The show featured garments constructed from beach-collected litter to demonstrate how everyday waste can be transformed, addressing Nigeria's annual generation of 2.5 million tons of plastic waste that threaten marine ecosystems.
Plastic bottles, food wrappers, and metal cups are being transformed into high fashion on a Lagos runway. In a youth-led trashing show, these everyday waste items are becoming bold, colorful outfits that blend art with environmental activism. The event is organized by the Green Fingers Wildlife Initiative, an environmental group that runs conservation programs across Nigeria. Founder Chinedu Mogbo stated that this year's theme, Sea Turtle Awakening, was chosen to highlight plastic waste impact on marine life. Mogbo emphasized that the group wants to raise awareness and help tackle the issues facing ocean life. Teenage designers and volunteers created the garments from litter collected along beaches and coastal communities. Each outfit, built from bottle caps, water sachet, and discarded packaging, aims to show how everyday waste contributes to pollution while demonstrating creative transformation. Mogbo explained that the essence of the trashing show is to help build the next generation and equip them for environmental advocacy. He expressed satisfaction at seeing students turn out in large numbers to support and participate in these activities. According to UN Environment Program data, Nigeria generates approximately 2.5 million tons of plastic waste annually, much of which ends up in waterways and the Atlantic Ocean, threatening marine ecosystems. For the young participants, the show represents both creative expression and environmental responsibility. Model Oko Victoria described feeling amazed to be part of an event that converts trash into wearable art. Another participant, Eze Chidalu, noted that the outfits demonstrate that beauty can be both fashionable and sustainable. The Green Fingers Wildlife Initiative has organized similar outreach projects in neighboring countries using fashion to spark a broader movement against plastic pollution and turn awareness into concrete action.
Now, Ghana's Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has revoked 278 small-scale mining licenses nationwide due to regulatory breaches and expired permits. Minister Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa authorized the action on Thursday, October 23rd, under the Minerals and Mining Act, targeting operators who violated environmental standards or continued operations after permit expiration. This represents the government's strongest enforcement action this year against illegal mining practices that have caused severe environmental damage, with the ministry also implementing new tracking technology to monitor compliance moving forward.
The revocations were authorized under Ghana's Minerals and Mining Act, targeting operators who failed to comply with environmental and safety standards, as well as those continuing operations with expired permits. This action forms part of measures to strengthen governance in mineral rights management and ensure sector compliance. The ministry spokesperson emphasized that this isn't the first reform attempt, following an earlier national review that initially revoked over 300 licenses. However, this latest batch represents a decisive step in addressing Ghana's long-standing struggle with illegal mining operations known locally as galamsey, which have caused severe environmental damage to water bodies and forest reserves. What sets this action apart is its finality, with no grace periods or regularization opportunities mentioned. The ministry has simply published a list of affected companies and terminated their authorization. Additionally, the government is implementing technological solutions, introducing tracking devices and geofencing systems for excavators to ensure they operate within licensed zones. For the 278 affected operators, this means immediate business shutdowns. While it remains unclear whether they can reapply under stricter conditions, the ministry appears committed to enforcement follow-through. The real test will come in maintaining this vigilance in the months ahead, particularly for communities that depended on these operations for employment.
President Trump has announced a new 10% tariff increase on Canadian goods, escalating trade tensions between the two nations. The decision comes in response to an Ontario government television advertisement featuring Ronald Reagan that criticized tariffs which aired during the World Series Baseball Championships. Despite Ontario's offer to pause the advertising campaign and Canada's expressed willingness to continue trade negotiations, the White House has moved forward with a tariff hike. The Ronald Reagan Foundation has criticized Ontario's use of Reagan's likeness, calling it misleading. This escalation comes despite existing U.S. tariffs of 35% on Canadian goods, with additional levies on metal and automobiles.
President Donald Trump has announced he is increasing U.S. tariffs on Canadian goods by 10%, escalating a trade dispute sparked by a television advertisement. The decision came after Ontario Province aired an anti-tariff commercial during the World Series featuring former President Ronald Reagan. President Trump lashed out at Canadian officials, calling the advertisement a fraud and demanding its immediate removal. He stated he was increasing the tariff on Canada by 10% over and above what they are paying now. The advertisement, sponsored by the Ontario government, uses clips from a 1987 Reagan speech where the former president stated that tariffs hurt every American. The Ronald Reagan Foundation criticized the ad for using selective audio and video, stating it misrepresented Reagan's address. In response to the escalating situation, Prime Minister Mark Carney stated that Canada was ready to continue building on the progress made in trade talks. However, he added that the government was simultaneously diversifying Canada's trade relationships with other nations, including ASEAN members. Ontario Premier Doug Ford said he would pause the advertising campaign to allow trade talks to resume, but noted the ads will continue airing through the weekend's World Series games. This marks the latest development in ongoing trade tensions between the two nations, with the U.S. having already imposed a 35% levy on all Canadian goods, plus sector-specific tariffs on metals and automobiles. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce responded that tariffs remain a tax on America first, the North American competitiveness as a whole, expressing hope that the threat of escalation could be resolved through diplomatic channels.
And that is all for the news. Let's take a quick recap of our top stories. In higher education, Kenyan students win Global Award for Breakthrough Innovation. In discovery, Tanzania discovers new natural gas in southern region. In business, Ghana revokes 278 mining licenses over illegal operation. In international Donald Trump escalates trade war with Canada over Reagan advert. And I'll thank you very much for sticking with us on the AAUTV Mid-week news. Get interactive with us via our dedicated social media handles at Association of African Universities. My name is Maame Ekua, Otuakua, Nyame. Enjoy the rest of your week.